Back in 1968, I was learning how to clone stem cells. And back at that time, just a handful of people in the entire world even knew what a stem cell was. So I was in the right place at the right time to make some interesting discoveries. I put one stem cell in culture by itself. It divides every 10 or 12 hours. At first it's 1, then 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, doubling. So I have 50,000 genetically identical cells. That's not the experiment. This is. I split the cells into 3 different petri dishes. And what I do is I change the chemical composition of the culture medium. Culture medium is the equivalent of blood. So if I'm growing mouse cells, then what I do is look at mouse blood, see what it's made out of, and then try to make a synthetic version of that called culture medium. So here's the point. Genetically identical cells in 3 dishes, but slightly different environment because of the chemistry. In one dish, the cells form muscle. In a second dish, the cells form bone. And in a third dish, the cells form fat cells. Significance? What controls the fate of the cells? Point? They were all genetically identical. The environment is what was selecting the genetic activity of the cells.
People who have the same DNA, who have the same susceptibility to illness, one can become ill and the other can stay well. One can heal and the other can't, all because they optimize the environmental factors that control gene activity. And that's what the field of epigenetics is all about.
The nature of biology is simple. Biological organisms adapt their biology to fit into an environment. Let's say I'm looking at the activity of my liver cells in the body. And I say, well, my liver cells should be adjusting to what's going on in the environment. And I say, well, how does a liver cell know what's going on in the environment? The answer is this. The liver cell is not touching the environment. It depends on the nervous system to send information about the environment inside the body so the cells adjust their biology to match what's going on in the world. Well, we only have one problem in that, and that is this. Consciousness is an interpretation. So my mind is interpreting the environment. So if I change my perception, my mind, change my belief about life, I change the signals that are going in and adjusting the function of the cell. The point is very, very significant. By my ability to change my environment and by my ability to change my perception of the environment, have the ability to control my genetic activity. I'm not a victim of my heredity, I'm a master of my genetic activity. In understanding how we deal with the environment and deal with perception, there's a mind between the environment and my cells. And when I say the mind, everyone thinks of a single entity, the mind. The mind is comprised of 2 interdependent elements that work together. And that's the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind, the latest evolution of the brain, is the creative mind. When the conscious mind is engaged in thinking, the subconscious is the default program, the autopilot. So my conscious mind can be engaged, but my subconscious mind will carry out whatever chore I'm doing, walking, driving the car, communicating with another person. I don't need my conscious mind for that. I already have programs of how to do all those things. When we look at the world, we're actually operating through the subconscious mind. The programs in the subconscious mind primarily came from downloading other people's behaviors. Your mother, your father, your siblings, your community, in the first 7 years of life.
We are essentially an open sponge to the world, absorbing the patterns from all of those people that we are exposed to and surrounded with. So if we have caregivers who are really conscious and have learned to manage their emotions and heal their hurts in a healthy way, that's a really good thing. Very few people I know were blessed enough to come from those families.
Let's say we're growing up in an environment where there's trauma in the household. Alcoholism, family conflict, inflamed relationships. And when we don't have tools to process our emotions in a given moment, that becomes a memory that's not fully formed. we end up seeing ourselves and the world around us as if we're still 4 years of age in an environment of just conflict and trauma and drama. We filter and therefore feel that again and again every time colors, sounds, smells, taste, feelings get triggered. Boom, we react as if that memory were going on for the first time. So you can attempt to outrun the subconscious mind just like you attempt to outrun a shadow. You can't. You got to turn around and face it. You got to see the problem as the portal. And so recognizing that these symptoms and stressors are meaningful and brilliantly intelligent in waking us